can't do that in a garage. There's just a few places in the world with the right equipment and only a few people in the world with the right training to be able to do that.
Bugatti wanted this car dead. After this Chiron Pur Sport was totaled, the factory literally wiped it from their records to make sure it never hit the road again. But they didn't count on Mat Armstrong buying the wreckage and attempting the impossible. This isn't just a rebuild, it's a middle finger to a billion-dollar brand. Can one man actually fix what Bugatti says is impossible? Let's see if this $4 million of carbon fiber can actually be saved. The crash that started it all. In 2025, a rare Bugatti Chiron Pur Sport slammed into a delivery truck in Miami. This wasn't just any car, it belonged to influencer Alex Gonzalez, known online for his jaw-dropping luxury vehicle collection. The crash left the rear of the car severely damaged, specifically in the area where the large engine and drivetrain are located. Photos of the wreck quickly spread online, and car enthusiasts couldn't stop asking, how does a masterpiece like this end up as a heap of shattered carbon fiber and leather? To understand why this was such a big deal, you have to realize that Bugattis aren't mass-produced like a Ford or a Toyota. They are treated like high-tech art. Only 60 of these Pur Sports were ever made, and owners protect them like rare treasures, while collectors keep track of every single one of them. Because of this, Bugatti only makes headlines for being fast or beautiful. You almost never hear about one being destroyed in a crash. Now, think about how a normal car accident works. If you dent a regular car, you just call the insurance company. They'll write you a check, and then you take it to a local shop. Mechanics swap out some metal panels, and you're back on the road. It's a routine process that happens every single day. But with a Bugatti, those normal rules just don't apply. The Spur Sport is one of the most extreme machines ever built, featuring a massive 8-liter engine that pumps out 1,500 horsepower. The entire car is built around a carbon fiber shell designed to handle insane speeds. While that design makes it fast, it also makes repairs a total nightmare. This is not the kind of car you can just fix in a neighborhood garage. Alex Gonzalez learned this the hard way when he called a specialist from France to inspect the damage. He realized very quickly that hypercars are built differently. Every part is made in limited numbers, which means a single component can cost more than a brand new luxury sedan. But the price was only the beginning of his problems. You see, Bugatti has very strict rules for damaged cars. These machines can fly at over 260 miles per hour, and at that speed, a tiny repair mistake is a death trap. That's why the company keeps a total lock on how their cars are fixed. They want to make sure every single bolt meets their perfect standards. So the company made its position very clear. If this Bugatti was going to be fixed, it wasn't happening in a local shop. It had to be shipped all the way back to the factory in France for a full restoration. But the price shocked everyone. Just the parts alone cost almost $2 million. That's more than some people spend to buy a house. With a price tag this high, the decision seemed inevitable. The insurance company declared the car a total loss. Bugatti also blacklisted the vehicle's VIN, which meant no official Bugatti dealer anywhere in the world was allowed to sell parts for it again. But this raises questions. If the official path costs $2 million and the factory has turned its back, is the car truly impossible to fix? Or is there still a way to bring it back to life? The impossible rebuild begins. Most people looked at the wrecked Bugatti and saw a pile of expensive junk. They saw broken carbon fiber, crushed metal, and a car that would never run again. But Mat Armstrong saw something completely different. Mat Armstrong is a British YouTuber who gained millions of followers by doing the unthinkable. He buys badly damaged supercars and fixes them right in front of the camera. He is the guy you call for the cars that most mechanics are too scared to touch. When he saw this crashed Chiron Pur Sport, he had one big question. Could a car blacklisted by the factory actually be rebuilt without sending it back to France? To find out, he had to get the car into his workshop first. Once it arrived, reality set in. The damage was even worse than it looked in the photos. The engine mounts were snapped, the carbon fiber panels were cracked, and the wiring was completely crushed. Most people would have walked away right then. But Mat doesn't really take impossible for an answer. Instead, he started documenting every single crack and broken part for his millions of viewers. And as he dug deeper, Mat found something that caught him off guard. Underneath all that prestige, the Chiron was actually built in a modular way. This meant panels could be removed and bolts could be turned, just like any other car. It was delicate work, but it was possible. This was a huge discovery because Bugatti had long claimed that only a handful of specialized facilities in the world could handle this type of repair. According to them, you needed special machines, factory blueprints, and years of experience just to take a car like this apart. As Mat carefully removed panels and examined each part, he slowly proved that even the so-called untouchable Chiron could be understood and worked on outside the factory. By the end of the first week, the car was beginning to reveal what was possible. Engine mounts had been examined, panels cataloged, and a plan was formed to repair components that Bugatti refused to sell individually. At this point, the project had become more than just a repair. It had become a statement. It showed that even the most exclusive hypercars could be tackled with skill, patience, and determination. The moment that really captured the world's attention came when Mat began working on the rear drivetrain, which included the engine, transmission, and suspension still attached to the carbon fiber chassis. Bugatti's official manual says this requires laser-guided rails and technicians trained for years. Mat didn't have any of that. He had a standard workshop lift, some blocks of wood, and the base of an old trash can. It sounds crazy, but it worked. Every movement had to be perfect because one slip could cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. With his father guiding him, Mat slowly lifted the heart of the car away from the body. He was pushing the limits of what anyone thought was possible outside of France. Step by step, the drivetrain came free. No specialized jigs, no secret factory tools, just grit and a rolling trash can base. He filmed the entire thing and shared it with the world. For the first time, millions of people got to see the guts of a Chiron Pur Sport in a regular shed. All those titanium bolts and custom parts that were usually hidden behind a wall of secrecy were now out in the open. Automotive media reacted instantly, picking up the story, and it quickly went viral on social media. People everywhere were asking how this was even possible. For many, it was the first time they could see how a Bugatti Chiron is truly built. What used to be a mystical, untouchable machine was suddenly something anyone could understand. This viral moment was a massive blow to Bugatti's control over its cars. A small workshop in England had turned a private project into a global spectacle. As the video racked up millions of views, it sparked a huge debate. Some people loved the right to repair energy. Others were worried that a car this fast should never be touched by anyone but the factory. One thing was certain: Bugatti could no longer look the other way. They had to decide if they would keep ignoring this car or finally acknowledge the man who just exposed their system. The CEO's unexpected response. The internet has seen this story play out 1,000 times. When a big company gets called out, the response is usually the same. Lawyers move in, they issue a cold press statement, and the official answer is no comment. Most people expected Bugatti to do the same thing once Mat's videos started pulling in millions of views. But the CEO, Mat Armstrong, chose a completely different path. You have to understand that Mat Armstrong isn't your typical corporate boss. Long before he was running a legendary brand like Bugatti, he was an engineer messing around with cars in a small garage. His story actually started a lot like Mat Armstrong's. He eventually built his own company, Rimac Automobili, and created some of the fastest electric cars on the planet. Because of that background, he knows exactly how it feels when someone tells you a job is impossible. Still, from Bugatti's perspective, the situation was messy. The company follows a very strict philosophy. They don't look at their cars as just machines. They see them as precision instruments built to handle extreme speeds. At that level, even a tiny mistake in the structure can be dangerous. That's why Bugatti usually keeps such a tight grip on repairs. If a car crashes, they want it back at the factory, where specialists have the right tools to fix it perfectly. Seeing a Chiron Pur Sport in pieces in a private workshop doesn't sit right with the company, and it has raised concerns. The drama hit a boiling point online when the car's owner, Alex Gonzalez, made a bold post on Instagram. He called out Bugatti, saying that if they didn't unblock the vehicle within 24 hours, he might just 3D print the parts himself. This comment sparked a lot of controversy. Some people thought it was a brilliant way to challenge the industry, while others believed it was taking things way too far. While most CEOs would have stayed quiet, Mat Armstrong decided to join the conversation. Instead of sending a legal threat, he did something shocking. He reached out directly on social media. He sent a private message to the owner to explain the company's side of things. His message focused mainly on safety. Armstrong explained that parts responsible for holding the structure of a hypercar together are exposed to extreme forces. On a machine capable of producing around 1,500 horsepower, even a small failure can have devastating consequences. While 3D printing can be useful for certain components, he warned that using it for major structural pieces could be extremely dangerous at the speeds a Bugatti can reach. Armstrong also took the opportunity to clear up several rumors that had been spreading online. Earlier reports claimed the repair could cost as much as $1.7 million and that even a single headlight might cost more than $170,000. Those numbers quickly became internet legends, repeated across countless posts and videos. Armstrong explained that these figures came from worst-case insurance estimates rather than the exact prices of each part. The repair was still extremely expensive, but the numbers circulating online had made the situation sound even more dramatic than it really was. Then he did something even more unexpected. Instead of limiting the conversation to private messages, Armstrong later addressed the rebuild publicly. He posted a video discussing the project and speaking directly about the work being done by Mat Armstrong. His tone surprised many viewers. He remained calm, respectful, and even admitted that he had watched Mat's content before. Rather than mocking the unusual techniques being used in the workshop, he used the moment to explain just how complex the engineering of a Bugatti really is. For many observers, the entire response felt like a masterclass in modern PR. Instead of turning the situation into a legal battle, Armstrong transformed it into a conversation. By acknowledging the rebuild and inviting discussion about the safest way to move forward, he managed to turn what could have been a conflict into a collaboration. The company was no longer seen as an enemy trying to stop the project. Instead, it looked like a brand willing to engage openly with its audience. This level of transparency matters more than ever in the age of social media. Millions of people were already watching every stage of the rebuild, and ignoring the story could have made the company look distant or defensive. By stepping forward and explaining the reality behind the engineering and the costs, Armstrong helped viewers understand why Bugatti maintained such strict standards in the first place. For many people watching the story unfold, this moment felt like a turning point. What began as a controversial rebuild inside a small workshop had now drawn the attention of the company itself. It showed how the relationship between manufacturers and owners is changing. Instead of silence and legal pressure, the response came through conversation, explanation, and openness. And in doing so, the CEO of Bugatti managed to turn a viral internet controversy into something far more interesting, a rare moment where the factory and the garage builder found themselves on the same side of the story. The global debate. As the videos of Mat's rebuild reached millions of viewers, the story began to shift. It wasn't just a garage project anymore. What started as a damaged car in a small workshop grew into a worldwide conversation. People weren't just watching a repair, they were asking a big question. Who truly has the right to fix a vehicle once it leaves the factory? At the heart of this was the right to repair movement. For years, we've seen big companies limit how we fix our own property, from smartphones to farm equipment. They use secret software and locked parts to keep anyone else from doing the work. Now, this same battle has reached the world of luxury hypercars. For Bugatti, the reason is simple: safety. They argue that a car with 1,500 horsepower isn't just a vehicle. It's a high-speed machine that requires perfect precision. From the factory's view, keeping tight control is the only way to protect lives. This is why they use a system called VIN locking. If a car is totaled, the factory can essentially freeze its records, making it nearly impossible to buy official parts. However, many people argue that this system takes away the rights of the owner. They believe that if you buy a car with your own money, you should have the freedom to rebuild it. Blocked parts and high costs can make repair feel impossible. In many cases, the price the factory quotes is so high that it forces the owner to give up. This is exactly why Mat's project went viral. It puts these questions right in front of a global audience. Millions watched as a car that was supposedly beyond saving slowly started to come back to life. Every video sparked a new debate online. Some cheered for the independent mechanics. They saw it as proof that skill and determination can beat strict factory rules. For them, the project was about freedom and the spirit of figuring things out yourself. Others remained worried. They felt that rebuilding a car this powerful without factory supervision was just too risky. They believed that without those exact standards, a high-speed machine could become unpredictable. This project forced a global conversation about the future of ownership. It highlighted the delicate balance between a manufacturer's responsibility for safety and an owner's right to their property. And while everyone argued, Bugatti wasn't standing still. Something major was brewing behind the scenes, and no one outside the factory knew what was coming next. The tourbillon era. While the internet argued about repair rights, Bugatti was quietly moving into its next chapter. Under Mat Armstrong's leadership, the company introduced a car that was about more than just numbers. They called it the Bugatti Tourbillon. At first glance, it looks like a new version of Chiron. But it is actually a big shift in how Bugatti thinks. Instead of just focusing on being the fastest, the company wanted to celebrate how cars are actually made. They wanted a machine that people could touch, see, and truly understand. The engine isn't just a part, it's the heart of the car. The Tourbillon uses an 8.3-liter V16 engine paired with 3 electric motors. Together they produce about 1,800 horsepower. Just hearing that is enough to make any car fan sit up. And it didn't stop there. The hybrid system is the clever part. It can sneak around quietly on electric power when you want, but it still has that raw power when you need it. Inside the car, Bugatti also did something fascinating. They got rid of the big digital screens that you see in most luxury cars today. Instead, they used analog gauges made by Swiss watchmakers. Every dial and handcrafted piece is built to last. Bugatti didn't just want a car for today. They wanted a car that would still feel alive and precise 50 years from now. Choosing this engine over the old turbo system was very intentional. It removes a lot of complexity and somehow creates a direct link between the driver and the car. This is the same kind of honesty Mat Armstrong showed in his shed. People want to see how a car works. They want to feel that connection, and Tourbillon gives them exactly that. Even the little details tell a story. You can see the exposed gears and structural parts. Most modern cars hide all that behind plastic covers or digital screens. Bugatti chose to show it all. The Tourbillon is part speed car and part hand-built work of art. In a way, it shares the same energy as Mat's rebuild. His videos proved something simple. People are curious. They want to understand how these cars work, not just admire them from afar. Rimac and his team got that. They showed the world that even the most advanced cars can be appreciated for their craftsmanship. When Mat finished his rebuild and the Tourbillon rolled onto the streets, one thing was clear. One car shows what a single person can do with skill and determination. The other shows a factory willing to be open about its craft. Both celebrate human skill in different but equally inspiring ways. And it leaves us with these questions. If a man in a shed can bring a blacklisted hypercar back to life, what other secrets are hiding inside the world's most untouchable machines? Would you trust a 1,500 horsepower car fixed in a shed? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. For more content like this, tap on the next video on your screen.